Welcome to Books and Things. It must be Thursday. We have a special guest, two special guests today, and I think you're going to like it because it's all about hope and love between a family and their dog. So we have today Connie Bombaci.
Yes.
And Judea.
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 Yes.
And where'd that name come from?
That is actually a name out of the Bible.
Ah,
and
yeah.
My husband wanted to name her Judy, and I wanted Judea. And what I found out was that Judy is actually a derivative of Judea. So it came out well.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
Well, we're here to discuss your new book, or your only book, and it's called Hogan's Hope. If you read this book and don't have a couple of tears, there's something wrong with you. I just thought of my son, I thought of my dog and my family, and I'm thinking, it's hard to lose an animal. And people say, well, I haven't lost anybody, just an animal. No. That doesn't count. No, because I've lost we were talking about my dog Fred, and he died the week after I buried my son.
Oh, my.
And I couldn't even I just left him at the vet, and I couldn't do anything with him. But he's an animal. He's a friend. He's part of the family.
He's part of the family.
And you did so much with this dog. And the reason she wrote the book is about a deaf dog. I didn't know they put these animals to sleep just because they're deaf.
Back in 1993, when we adopted Hogan, he was 18 months old. And he was taken from the place where he was living because of the severe abuse. He was very badly neglected.
He should have bit the guy.
And we happened to be able to adopt him from the Connecticut Humane Society. And we adopted him for a playmate for our black lab named India, who was very vivacious and very energetic. And I said to my husband, we need a playmate. And he said, no, I don't think we need a second dog. And I kept pleading.
He's too easy.
I know. Well, he actually said, you can have a second dog, but has to be the same age, 18 months, same size, 55 to 60 pounds, short-haired like our India was, male, and neutered. He was certain I wasn't going to be able to find a dog to meet this criteria.
You're not going to do this.
Well, that's right. Well, I happened to call all around, and the long list, back then you'd telephone in, and the last dog on this long list of pups that were needing a home was 18-month-old, male, neutered, Dalmatian, deaf. I didn't even hear the word deaf. Didn't even hear the word deaf. Because being educators, that doesn't matter to us.
No.
But what I learned when we adopted him was that deaf dogs were thought that they needed to be destroyed, that they were somehow suffering. And we actually bred the deafness into them by wanting the whiteness and the blue eyes. And the lack of pigment caused the deafness, because the cochlea in our ears need that pigment in order for the nerves to operate properly.
Now, somebody said it's mostly Dalmatians.
It's a very high incident in Dalmatians because of all the whiteness. And the whiter they are, the better. And because the big black splotches or patches, no good. The Dalmatian Club of America has backed off. It used to be mandated all deaf puppies be destroyed. They wouldn't sell them, they wouldn't give them away, nothing. They would destroy them. While the Dalmatian Club of America has backed off some and leaves it up to the breeder now to determine what to do. So it gives some flexibility. And I would kind of like to think that Hogan helped with that, because like I said, when we adopted him back then, There were no groups, no help. There was nowhere to go.
And you taught the dogs American Sign Language.
Yes, I did.
I think that is just, that means that other people can talk to the dog too.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Because when we're going through the adoption process, they didn't just let us adopt him. We had to wait 24 hours. They did their background check, and they did their due diligence, which I am very thankful for, because that means that our animals aren't just going out anywhere. They're being placed carefully.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
my husband and I said, how are we going to talk to this guy? Because communication in a relationship is key, as you very well know.
Yeah.
And we're both teachers at that time, and we're in the kitchen, and we looked at each other, and simultaneously we said, American Sign Language.
Oh.
So when I brought Hogan home the next day, sitting on the kitchen counter was this book, handbook, and we learned sign language one sign at a time.
Yeah.
One sign. And this book's been taped back together because it's still being used, because Judea is deaf, and we're teaching her American Sign Language.
And she just sits there.
She's a good girl.
Yeah.
She is a good girl.
That's good.
Yeah.
And I think that what you've done, and especially with this book, you've got so many awards from this book. And how long has it been out?
The original version has been out a year.
A year?
A year.
And then you got a second version now.
I have a second edition, which is the Christian edition, and it has supporting Bible scripture. It supports the story. And that was the original intent.
Yeah.
I always wanted to include scripture in my book, but I was advised and not to have the scripture on my first book. And it was a wise decision, I think, because it appealed to a wider audience.
Yeah.
And then I went back and I put the scripture back in.
Yeah.
And it
It's a good
came out.
idea.
It came out the very early part of April.
Wow.
So.
And when you contacted me, I think, who's Hogan?
Hogan's a deaf dog. Yes.
And I'm thinking, a deaf dog? Well, I had dogs that don't listen. But I'm not a trainer either, so.
Well, you know what? Oftentimes a person will contact me and say, my dog won't listen to me. They won't come. They won't sit. They won't do this.
Yeah.
And I'll say, have you ever thought about the possibility of your dog being deaf? And they said, I never thought about it. And it's quite often the dog is deaf, either in one or both ears.
Well, and you know, some of the signs used on training dogs anyway.
That's right.
You always stop.
There's
Get
a
up.
doggy sign language.
Yeah.
Well, we used American Sign Language because, like you had said to me earlier, a lot of people can talk to our dogs then.
Yes.
Because I knew the I love you sign.
Yeah.
And it's amazing when we go out on book signings or presentations, there's always at least one person who knows some American Sign Language, and they can talk with my dog. The other thing that's nice is that I make up laminated sheets and I leave them at the vet's office. And so if I have to leave my dog for, say, just being neutered or spayed, they can talk with the dog, and the dog's not left scared and alone.
I think that's so neat. If you see this book, you gotta get it, because you did a great job with this thing.
Oh, thank you.
And how the dog found a forever home.
He was with us until he was almost 16.
Wow.
And you know what? We had such a special bond that as he was learning sign language, one of the signs that I taught him was kiss.
Oh.
And he loved to give me a kiss. And
there's the picture up there now.
yes, he's
Of the
giving me a
kissing.
kiss.
And that's cool.
We had a very great relationship.
Wow. And do you have the same thing with
With
her,
Judea,
or?
yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. She likes to give kisses as well. Yep. And she goes everywhere with me. They call them my Velcro dogs because the bond is so tight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, in the book, you had 3 dogs.
I did.
And 2 were deaf.
2 were deaf.
Yeah.
That's right. After we adopted Hogan for India, a few months later, the Connecticut Humane Society called up and said, would you think about adopting another deaf dog? And I went, oh my goodness. My husband was reluctant with the second dog. I said, could we foster her until we found her a home? We'll train her, we'll teach her some sign language. And Jim, my husband Jim, agreed to that. Well, she never left.
Why would he think she might leave?
She found her forever home. She did. She found her forever home. And I like the
part where the other dog,
Georgia.
If Hogan was looking the other direction, she'd go over and nudge him to.
India would do that. Yes. India would go and get the deaf dogs for me. Yes, if they weren't coming.
That's right. India was not
the hearing. Yes,
yeah, here's the hearing dog.
She was the hearing dog.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I thought that was cool.
Yeah. So, and she's wondering what's going on here, trying to be good. Yeah. But you know, there's all kinds of myths about deaf dogs.
Yeah.
You know, for instance, that they can't learn. Well, Hogan learned over 70 signs in American Sign Language. Over 70 signs. And he learned agility and lure coursing and tracking and fly ball. He learned all kinds of things. Wow. You know, so that myth is untrue. The myth that they startle. Well, you've heard the adage, let a sleeping dog lie. That didn't come about because of deaf dogs. That came about because of all dogs. We don't startle a dog. We have to desensitize them so that they don't startle. Another one of the myths is that they're difficult to train.
Yeah.
Well, I've worked with dogs for decades, and I found that deaf dogs often are easier to train than my hearing dogs, because once they learn that the hands are telling them something yummy, this is the sign for cookie. Oh. They watch the hands very intently, very intently. Wow. So they learn quite rapidly. When I brought Hogan home, you know, one of the first signs to teach a dog is, oh, you got to teach them to sit. So I thought, okay, I'm going to teach Hogan, deaf, to sit.
Yeah.
Sit. Well, he learned that in less than a day, and at the same time I was teaching Cookie, and we were off and running. Another myth is that they can't run free. Now, I admit, we have to take care of their safety, and we have to provide for their safety. We don't just let them run free. We do it in a safe environment. And we went off to camp for dogs. It was called Camp Gone to the Dogs.
Right.
And there was this lure coursing going on. And I looked at Jim and I said, oh, Hogan would love to chase this. And what it is, it's a string that's pulled around a huge field, and it's got a white plastic bag attached to it called the bunny. Oh, okay. And the dogs chase it. And Hogan and Jim said, if he takes off, there's no way to call him back.
That's right.
Well, the woman who ran the lure course came over to me and said, let him try. Yeah. Let him try, Connie. He'll come back. I promise he'll come back. So we did. We let him run. And for the first time in his life, Hogan ran free on this lure course. And he had the time of his life.
Oh, there's the picture of him running.
Somebody caught a picture of him running. That is the first time he ran free off lead in his life. And he had the time of his life. He was. He was an amazing dog. Yeah. Amazing dog.
That is so cool. And then Jim, in his wiseness, built a lure course on the new property.
Well, we actually went in search of a new property for Hogan so that he could have Jim build him that lure course. And that lure course is set up now, and Judea runs it.
Oh, really?
Yes, Judea runs it.
Yeah, because when I was reading the book, it made you sad to see it. But now you're getting happy again with the dog.
Yeah, it touches the heart.
Yeah.
It touches the heart when they can be happy and they can run free. Hogan loved having fun.
Yeah.
He absolutely loved having fun. He would even wear sunglasses.
Yeah, we got a picture of him with sunglasses on.
We do, and I think that it actually soothed the
There he
eyes.
is.
Yeah, because one time I caught him going over to get the sunglasses, and I thought, what's going on? And I put them on, and he was much happier.
Well, you know, with the white, they could have a problem with the eyes too.
Well, the blue eyes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, because they're much more sensitive to the sun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that poor dog had a lot of things going on.
A lot of things, but he, against all odds, he triumphed.
Yeah.
He triumphed, and he learned so much. He went on national television. He went on Dateline NBC. He went on the Oprah Winfrey Show.
Yes, she is.
Yep.
With him.
Yep, and he went on Jack Hanna's Animal Adventures, many national television shows.
You were everywhere.
Well, Hogan was everywhere.
Oh, Hogan was, yeah.
Yes, I always say that it's Hogan's story,
Yeah.
not my book.
Yeah.
Because Hogan taught me how to hope. He had the perseverance to keep going after being abused as a puppy. And you know, it says we glory in our suffering because through suffering we learn perseverance.
Yeah.
And through perseverance we develop character. And in that character we learn hope. And Hogan persevered.
Yeah.
And he had a character, I'll tell you. He had a very special character. And he taught me how to hope.
Now, is there anybody else around using the sign language for deaf dogs?
It is prevalent now.
Oh, it is?
It is very prevalent now. In fact, there's groups for deaf dogs.
Right.
And you can find them on the internet. And a lot of them are using American Sign Language. It's already invented. Why reinvent the wheel?
Exactly.
It's right there. And there's hundreds and hundreds of signs that you can use. And what really touches my heart is when we're out at a book signing and a person who is deaf comes up to our table.
Yeah.
And they've thought, I never thought I would ever be able to have an animal as a pet.
Yeah.
Because they said, because we can't talk. I said, you use your hands.
Yeah.
And one time we let Georgia, little Georgia, go around the pet expo with a deaf young woman because she was so happy she cried.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, and you're right, deaf people, they can't talk to a dog.
They can't talk, but they can certainly sign.
Yeah. So if you get a dog and you can teach it, and then they can have a puppy.
That's right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I know in the beginning you talked about how poorly he was treated. Did you know that, or is that?
We knew portions of it,
Oh,
and
okay.
I have to say that the first part of the book, before he was rescued, is a bit dramatized.
Yeah.
It isn't all true. We had to fill in blanks.
Okay.
But when we took him to the vet said, this dog's been beaten, because he could see the marks.
Yeah.
And it was by a hard object. But like I said, Hogan kept up that great character.
Yeah.
He never let it get to him.
He was a good dog that knew that he was a good dog, and the other stuff wasn't going to get in the way.
That's right. And we can learn the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Hope is for everyone.
Yeah, there's always hope.
You know, Christopher Reeve said, once you choose hope, anything is possible.
Yeah.
And it's true.
Yeah.
It's very true.
Yeah. I saw his son on TV the other day. Nice looking boy.
Ah,
I think he's acting.
did not know that.
Yeah, it was just a couple of weeks ago I was on there. And that was such a sad thing. And then Chris Reeves died, then his wife died.
That's right.
And left that kid all alone.
Within 6 months, I think it
Yeah.
was. Yep.
But anyway, no, but you were lucky to have him for so long.
I was. Almost 16 years. Almost 16 years.
And what about Georgia?
Georgia was 14 and a half. Georgia developed cancer, so she was not with us as long.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but she likes her cookies. Yes, can you sit, please? Yes, stay. She does. She likes her cookies, and she's a good girl. Yes.
Yeah, she take your fingers with it too.
You know, and when you think about it, each one of us has our own story. Some are everyday, ordinary stories. Others have extraordinary stories.
Yeah.
You know, full of triumph or full of sadness.
Yeah.
And no matter what the story is, it needs to be shared. It needs to be shared because it's full of hope, you know. And they, just like Judea, she was thrown away at 6 weeks old, and we got her when she was 8 weeks because she was deaf.
Yeah.
And they didn't want her. You know, and they say, well, we have to euthanize. Oh, she's going to see you.
Yeah.
We have to euthanize the dog. Do you know the definition of euthanasia? It's to put down, to kill, that which is suffering interminably. Deaf dogs aren't suffering.
They're not suffering. They don't hear anything.
They're not in pain. The only world they know is silence. They don't know they're deaf.
Yeah.
They don't know they're deaf. Come on over here.
Yeah, because they can't hear, so they haven't anything lost.
They have no loss.
No.
No, they are not suffering in any way, shape, or form. So to say that we euthanize them is a misnomer.
Yeah, you're not euthanizing.
We're destroying them. That's right. We're killing them.
And that's a shame because well, it probably goes back to the days when they had no idea that dog could do anything.
That's right. It was out of, and we've learned so much.
Yeah. And the dog is supposed to be good for something. And if you can't teach them anything,
that's right,
then they're no good.
But we would no more think of killing a deaf child or person for anything. And like I said before, we all have our differences. Our difference, we might be tall, we might be short, we might be old, we might be young. No matter what our difference, it doesn't matter. We need to love and accept each other the way that we are. Yeah. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah. That's so true. Because we're, I always wanted to be tall.
Well, I love you being just the way you are.
I just got the extra weight, so I'm halfway there.
There you go.
I think there is so much goodness out there that if we can get away from all the bad stuff, we'd enjoy ourselves.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Because Hogan certainly enjoyed himself.
Oh, what a wonderful way to...
He certainly enjoyed himself. He let nothing get in the way.
Yeah. My friend just lost a cat.
Oh.
And she said, it's not my cat. It was a stray. She got 4 of them, all strays. I said, yeah, but they all found to use your term, a home, a forever home.
A forever home.
And these cats never strayed again.
That's right. They didn't need to.
No, they stayed right there.
That's right. And I always say, adopt, don't shop.
That's true. Yeah.
There's so many animals out there that need loving homes, no matter what their differences. No matter what our differences. They accept and love us unconditionally, just the way we are.
We've got a few minutes left, and you wanted to read something out of your book.
You know, I wanted to share with you what I believe was Hogan's last hope before he passed over. Yeah. And I truly believe this was his last hope. All through the book were his hopes, but this was his last. And it's Hogan speaking.
The last part is what brought a couple of tears.
My hope is that my life offers inspiration for others to overcome any challenge, and that life be filled with eternal love, unconditional acceptance, and shining hope.
That's nice.
That was his final hope.
That is nice. Now, where can we get your book?
Well, believe it or not, some veterinarian offices are carrying it.
Really?
Yes. We've got even Petsy, the pet shop down in the Clinton Crossing. We've got Bank Street, Bank Square books.
And Savoy books.
Yes, Savoy. Yeah. And we've also got it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. So it's widely available.
So if you can't find it, call me, send me an email, I'll help you find it. It's not a problem. The books are everywhere. And it's a good read. Christmas is coming up. I hate to say that, but Christmas is coming up.
It makes a wonderful gift.
And they're great gifts. We're doing a book signing at the VFW in Park in November.
November?
Yeah, I'll let you know. And because it's all Kappa.
I'm there.
And we're trying to get, drum up some Christmas business. And
perfect.
Because you need books. You need people to read.
Reading's important. And if we can read, we can do anything.
Yes, and reading on a computer is not the same as holding a book.
That's right.
I love my books. I'm ready to move out and get another room. You've gotten so many wonderful awards from this book, too. And I'm not going to read them all because there's a half a page here. But I congratulate you on that.
Thank you very much.
That's a wonderful thing. I never entered mine in anywhere, so I haven't got anything. Still got a couple more minutes.
Well, you should do that. You should enter your book.
Yeah,
you never know. I never expected. I honestly never expected.
No, well, when you're writing something, you really don't know that you're writing something that people are going to really like. Do
you ever go back to your book and say, did I write that?
Oh, yeah.
Because sometimes I'll be reading in my book and I'll say, did I write that?
I was telling you, I know with my son Todd, my guardian angels, I know my son helped me because there's stuff in there that I don't know. And I had another lady said, you got to read the book because he left you messages in there. And I went,
that's right.
If I can read it, I would. And he hates me for that.
One
because
day.
I cry.
One day.
Yeah.
One day.
Yeah, one of these days I'll get into it.
And even if you do it at one page at a time.
Yeah.
One page.
Yeah, because there's a lot of good stuff in there. It's laughing, it's joking, it's talking, and crying.
Well, every good book or every good, even movie, stirs up the emotion.
Yeah. If I can get somebody to laugh or cry with what I write, I'm happy.
There you go. There you go.
We got Jim Bennett coming in next week. Jim Bennett writes about William Gillette and his mysteries. And then the following week, you have Frankie Justin Lamprey, who is just now Frankie Justin. Frankie has been coming on this show since he was 14, and now he's 19.
Wow.
We had a birthday party for him last year. He's a country singer. Excellent, excellent kid. If you got any questions or any suggestions, email me at santostom@comcast.net because I'd be happy to answer you or whatever. We appreciate anything to read anyway. I do like to read. And you can see the old shows on YouTube. Go to sec-tv.org, and there's a little button on there that you click on, and you can watch all the old TV shows we've had. I've had over 100 of them, whatever that means.
And they're quite good.
Thank you.
I've watched some, yes.
Every once in a while I go back and look and say, oh, God, I used to look so young. So anyway, thank you for watching. And thank you for being here.
Having me.
It's been a pleasure.
This has been a joy.
Reading that book is just great.
And if everyone can hold on to hope, keep hoping.
Yes.
Always hope.
Yes. Hope is a big thing because without any hope, you got nothing. You should be reading. Cuddle up with a good book with your air conditioner on. And be kind. Smile. I'll see you next week. Thanks again.